Welcome back, Fellowship family, to this week's episode of the Deeper Podcast. I'm your host, Doug Congdon. With me as my co-host today is Amy Weatherford. Amy, welcome back.
Thanks. It's great to be back since last week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, you were in this chair.
I know. And I don't want to be in that chair again anytime soon. I don't know. Pressure was on. You have a big job to fill.
I do. Thank you, especially when I have co-hosts like you.
Yeah.
So Brian is out. He's in Texas. I'm guessing right now, if I know him well, he's laying out in the sun, just like kind of getting a tan.
You know that he loves sunbathing.
That's who he is. Okay. So we are starting a new series this week, and it is called
If We.
And there's a bumper video again.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Does it have good music?
No, not as good as last time.
Little hip hop, like 90s.
Oh my gosh, no.
Paint splatter would be good. If we.
It's generic enough that you need to fill in the rest of the gaps. So what are the rest of the gaps there, Amy?
Well, if we add one person, it feels so weird saying if we.
You're stalling because you can't remember. Come on.
No. If we add one more person, if we add one more place, and then it's a P again. If we add one more percent.
I know you're shocked that they're all the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is.
Person, place, percent.
That's our pastor. That's who he is.
If we.
Yeah. If we. So this first week, if we add one person, okay? And now, well, actually, I'm going to save this question because I know our guest was around for the first time through. But the goal of this first week is, in a sense, we are stewards of the gospel. Mm-hmm. This is a stewardship series, right? If we're stewards of the gospel, how are we sharing that? How are we being good stewards with it? So it's not just like add a person, like have a baby. Yeah. It's like add a person in your life that you are like intentionally sharing the love of Jesus with.
And I don't know if you were planning on asking this earlier, but how would you define steward?
Oh my goodness.
I know, because we use these words.
Why would you do that right
now? Because it's kind of a Christianese word.
It is. You're right. That's a really good point. So steward is somebody who does not own the thing that they are given charge over, right? Mm-hmm. But they are supposed to take care of it while it's in their care. Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah.
Does that good?
Just being faithful with what they've been entrusted to use it for the right purposes and reasons.
Okay. Wow, thanks. Hey, good job putting me on the spot, co-host. That was good. That's my job.
Maybe I should take your role.
All right, let's stop it. Okay, so that's our goal here. We have invited wonderful guests on the show. Amazing guests. And since you have such a good and long-standing relationship, why don't you introduce her?
Yeah, she used to be Ike to me.
Ike.
Sweet little Anna Eichten, but now known as Anna Clam. You might know her from the stage with her beautiful singing voice.
You do know her from the stage for sure.
But yes, Anna Clam is joining us.
How often do you like up there these days?
Well, these days with Riley, our daughter, it's hard to, coordinate with that. So I do it like once every other month, which is good. Like, I like that. Chandler's up there every month, which if people don't know Chandler, they should. That's my husband. He is the electric guitar player, not the drummer. Okay. That's his. People get them confused. That's why I feel like
you're not married to both of them. Okay, just clearing.
I don't even know they're brothers. Okay,
I feel like I have to clarify that because people
married
get
to the one with the good facial hair.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
That's the one.
See, I was gonna say, if people ask, how do you describe him? Honestly, how do you describe him? You're like, he's the electric guitar player who, and then how do you describe what he looks like?
He has dark brown hair. He's handsome, but he's cute. No, I call him cute a lot.
You do?
But yeah,
okay,
he's cute.
You know that cute guy?
That's him. So he's Debbie and Curtis's oldest son, which everyone knows Debbie and Curtis because they're the best. So that's also, I feel like if you say that, they're like, oh yeah.
That's true. So. Yeah. Okay. So tell us a little bit about your story, who you are, how you came to be part of Fellowship. Give us a whole rundown.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for having me on the podcast.
You're welcome. Wow, how polite.
I am a huge podcast fan. I listen.
Not ours, just in general.
No, okay, all podcasts, but this one is on the top of my list.
That's so
sweet. It is, and I
sweet.
Listen all the time, so I don't feel qualified to be on it. But I'm just telling myself it's not about me, and I get to hang out with you guys when you guys are fun.
Yes,
so
awesome.
So yeah, a little bit about me. I'm from here in Topeka. I love to do anything like outdoors and God's creation, and like I'm just a pretty simple gal, really. I mean,
this is a dating profile.
A little. a little crunchy, a little granola.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been married to Chandler for 6 years.
Okay.
We've been
Crazy.
together for 10 years. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We have a dog named Lyle. And we
Great
have,
name.
I know, it's an old man name. And we have an 18-month-old daughter, Riley, which I can't believe she's ours. Like, she's such a joy. And I have probably been at Fellowship, I think, since 2012,
Okay.
Crazy.
which this is
How
super.
old were you in 2012 when you came?
I was a freshman in high school, so I
Okay.
guess I would have been like 14.
Yeah.
I don't know. I lose track of like what grades
Yeah.
and what ages are. But I think it's really special sharing this with Amy sitting here because Amy played such a critical role in my story of coming to Christ. She did. I mean, she's just amazing. And
She is amazing.
Yeah. And so anyway, I was a freshman in high school, and I just want to preface, like, I came from a really loving and stable home. Like, I love my family, but it was a home that we did not follow Christ. Like, we did not go to church. I didn't know about Jesus. I didn't read. I didn't pray. And so when I started in my freshman year of high school, I just got connected with this group of girls that, like, my locker was in the midst of
Oh, I was going
theirs.
to say how.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's incredible.
And they
Locker.
all, yeah, they all went to what was called Reverb at the
Reverb.
time, but now known as Surge. And I just felt drawn to them and to God. And I know what I know now is that that was God and the Spirit, like, putting that on my heart to, like, want to know him. But at the time I was confused. I didn't know what was going on, and I just wanted to go with them. And so I did. And I thought it was weird. Like, I thought it was weird.
Love the honesty there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, people were doing worship with their hands in the
Yeah,
air and,
yeah.
and dancing around. And I thought, what is this? But I felt like I wanted to keep coming back. And Amy was our leader. And, you know, Amy's so captivating and easy to talk to and so
Yep.
loving. And so,
Yep.
of course, I wanted to hang out with her. And
Nice.
she, you know, is so hospitable as well. So she'd have us over all the time. Saturday morning Bible study.
Where was that? Where were you at the time?
Just my house.
Yeah.
Same house.
The same house?
Yes.
And it's like, it was
I didn't realize
perfect.
you've been in that house that long.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she made it feel like our house too, our home too. And like, we just loved spending time there. She would take us to do errands with her and hang out with her family and friends.
Discipleship.
It was, you know, Amy's heart for discipleship.
Yep.
And I just wanted to learn more about Jesus and hang around Amy. And so, you know, I started praying and reading my Bible, and one night it was at Amy's house at a
Slumber party.
sleepover, and we were all, like, all of us girls were there, and we were all talking about the Lord late into the night.
Do you
and
remember what we were talking about, though?
Revelation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it clicked. It
Wednesday
finally,
night at
Wait.
youth group, they were talking about,
Yeah.
they're like, can we have a slumber party and talk about Revelation? I'm like, okay, sure.
Were you guys reading it? Was somebody reading it in their, like, devotional time?
I
or?
don't even know. It just
don't
came up
remember.
in times or something. And
okay.
so we literally were listening to a John MacArthur overview of the book of Revelations. And in the
Okay.
middle of it, Anna literally went, wait, can we pause it? How do I do this?
yeah.
Oh my
It
god!
just
And I'm like,
all
wait,
clicked.
what?
Shut up.
Yeah, it clicked.
Okay.
Then. And I
Isn't that
felt,
nuts?
Yeah.
and it happened. Like, I truly did feel the Spirit, like, enter me.
That's
like,
so
I
cool.
don't know how else to describe it, but I was like, this is happening.
That's
this is
so
it.
And now
cool.
there's a plaque on that
Yes.
part of the carpet that says Anna accepted Christ
That would
here.
be so good.
I mean, we do know where this.
I know, we know where the spot
that
is.
is so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay. Okay, so rando question, but of that group of girls, like, who else would people maybe know? Like, are any of those girls still around FBC?
Yeah,
and killing?
so two of my closest friends still to this day, shout out to Nora Polens,
Yeah.
Nora Pruitt at the time, and Haley Hishma, was
Okay.
Haley Burkett at the time.
Oh, great
So-
And even
group.
that night,
Great group.
Haley had come to
Yes.
Christ fairly
Like a year before.
a year before.
Uh-huh.
So she literally was like, "Hey, do you mind? Because we still had a slumber party and all these other girls.
Yeah.
If we just go into your room
Yeah.
and I talk more with Anna," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Sure."
And I remember that too, because
Let's
Haley
go.
and I had like similar backgrounds growing
Okay,
up. Like,
okay.
you know, and so she was able to be like, this happened to me too.
Yeah.
You know, and this
It
is
was so awesome.
real. You know, this is a real thing.
And my dear friend
Cool.
Alyssa, who was co-leading with
Yeah.
us at the time, like we're both looking at each other like,
What is
"What?
happening?
I thought this stuff's supposed to be hard. Like, what are we doing?" But the
so
background, even with
good.
that, is when would do these deeper experiences, and
Yeah.
we did like
You mean
underground
as a church? Yeah,
And
yeah.
they did this underground church where basically they just preached through the book of Jonah all one night.
Okay.
And Bill and Diane were there, which plays such a horn.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, tomorrow night I'm having a slumber party at my house. And one of the girls that's going to be there is not a believer. And we're really...
You were talking about her?
about
let's go.
Anna. And I was like, we really are just like, will you guys pray over this girl? Because it would be so cool if we get to share the gospel and do this. And so Bill and Diane right there, we prayed for that Anna would come to Christ.
That's so cool.
And she did. And now Bill did your guys' wedding ceremony.
Yeah, Bill and Diane did Chandler and I's premarital counseling. They would have us over for dinner and game nights like before we got engaged. And then so it only made sense that, they would do our counseling and Bill married us. And it's
And
just
here's
a full
Anna,
circle
this girl
moment.
who
Yeah.
thought the worship was so weird and
Yeah,
odd. And
yeah.
then God's like, cool, this is what you're going to do.
And then I also think like God used Bill to play a role in like Chandler and I getting together because the summer before we started dating, the summer before I went to college.
Okay.
And we kind of knew of each other, but not like we didn't like talk or anything.
Yeah.
And we were scheduled that summer like every weekend. And so I don't know if it was the Lord, but maybe Bill was playing some sort of social experiment. I don't know. But
That's hilarious.
like if for those who don't know, like when you hang out after in between services with the band, it's a super sweet time because you get to just spend all this extra time with these people. So we would just be in the same room and be talking and stuff. So,
If you're looking for a spouse, join the worship
Join the
team.
worship team if you're looking for a spouse. Yes.
kidding.
No, but we would just spend all this time together. We were literally scheduled every time that summer.
That's crazy.
It was together.
That's
so,
awesome.
Gosh. Okay. And
Yeah.
so you started dating and then you got married 4 years after that?
Yeah.
Like right when you graduated?
Yeah,
basically?
right
Okay.
when I graduated college. It was
Okay.
just a few months after that we got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. Special.
So here is our QQOTD. QQOTD. It's just for you two. I'm
Oh.
not going to answer this.
Why?
But because you guys have such a unique and sweet relationship, I just wanted you to each tell a ridiculous story or memory or nickname or something about the other person. So I figured this would be the gold here. I can't tell if she's laughing because she already has one.
One image of Emma. We
Emma.
had Emma. I just said Emma.
Well, we had two Emmas in
we
our
did
group.
in our group.
And
So,
Emma's
take it
here
back.
recording. So
Yes.
yeah, it's fair.
Anna, because it EMMAE, I don't know,
What is
something,
happening?
but
Just
whatever.
keep going.
But one of them is we had this new girl, JC, who started coming, and so she was coming to our Saturday morning Bible studies, but like it was like we were needed to like truly break her to feel comfortable with everyone. And was it you and Nora or you and Haley? Either one. They just basically got on top of her and started feeding her waffles.
I don't know how Amy.
Did she come back?
She did.
She did?
Doug,
And now she does ministry in North Texas.
Oh
doing,
my goodness, I
Doug,
can't believe.
you have to understand, we were wild. Like we were weird and
But
wild.
that was usually Wednesday night. Saturday, it was a little, and then we'd really have good time in the
Yes,
Word.
we would.
So-
But we were silly.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Force feeding waffles
And the,
to the new
weird
girl. That is
PJs
weird.
that she would wear sometimes.
We would always show up with like what we slept in that night to Bible
Roll out of
study.
bed
So
and
we
then
would
come over
look
early.
we would look rough. But
Yeah.
no one cared. But I don't know, we just Nora and I think one night we dropped off like a ton of like cantaloupes on Amy's porch or something.
You
As
did.
like a
And,
sweet prank?
I don't know what we were doing. We were just weird. And Amy
And you'd feel loved.
and
you know?
Amy would just put up with us. I don't know how she did it, but I don't
Lord
know.
was good.
We just
No, they were just fun,
we
but they
just,
were
we just
bizarre
had a lot
sometimes.
of bizarre but fun moments.
Do you have
together.
any not dirt on Amy,
Yeah,
but
what
any
do you
good
got?
like
We'll see how well this discipleship works.
No, I don't have any dirt on Amy. I really don't. I know you were hoping that I did, Doug,
I
but
was,
I don't.
I was.
I don't.
I was hoping for something ridiculous
Amy
at least.
would do hard drugs sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
No, we did. I did put stuff on popcorn, and they would call it crack popcorn.
Oh, that's right. It was
But it
that
wasn't real.
seasoning mix
Yeah.
that like Parmesan garlic or whatnot. You know, we would just dump that on.
They would tell people like, "Oh, we had crack," and
oh no, my goodness!
Oh, and the Crystal Light. She would always make us these jugs of Crystal Light.
And one time it was like a margarita flavored.
Oh my goodness!
And we were like, Amy, this is sinful. I'm just kidding.
It all sounds like so pure and Christian, like the Christian jokes.
I know.
I know.
It's so great. Okay.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish.
Thank you for entering. But Anna, at any point during this podcast, if you remember something ridiculous, please share. Okay?
Well, I am a processor. I can't usually think of things right off the bat, so I'll let you know. But I'm just telling you right now, I don't think there's anything.
There's gotta be.
One time on a Saturday morning, my sister Laura was still living with me and came by and put a roly-poly down my sweatshirt.
Oof.
And I don't even know if Anna remembers this, but I like ripped the sweatshirt off and punched my sister as hard as I could. And then I was like, that was not okay. That was not like
Jesus
Christ.
Would not do that, guys.
I
don't do what I did.
But it was such a natural reaction. So like I still will think back, that was really, and God says love your neighbor. Like, you know, it was just not good. But
okay. Thank you for that. That's very sweet. And just to hear your story is a great setup, obviously, for what we're doing here, talking about being available with the gospel to the people God puts in front of us. You did that with your small group of girls. You got invited by, did any of the specific locker people?
To be honest, I just showed up with them. I don't know. I think that I asked if I could go because God had put that on my heart without me knowing. And they were all like, come on,
I bet they were so pumped.
Yeah. So I think that's, if I remember correctly.
And then I felt like you guys were always adding new locker mate friends and stuff that I got to know through that. So
okay. So between the three of us, we've been Christians a long time, right? So we have had, I would say, a lot of opportunities probably where God has placed before us either a conversation or a person or even a group of people that he's called us to be good stewards of the gospel to. In the Daily Devo this week, Joe talks about how even when we're given those opportunities on a silver platter, he says we hesitate often due to fear, due to a lack of confidence, or a lack of clarity in explaining the gospel, which makes sense. For your guys', if you just think through your lived experience, what's been the biggest, maybe one of those challenges to you guys sharing the gospel clearly and plainly with people?
Yeah, I think one of the things is for me, I get nervous that I'm not going to say it correctly and I'm going to stumble on the words. It's not going to be clear. It's going to make them feel weird.
Yeah.
And I was just reading just this past week in Ezekiel when he's calling Ezekiel to go talk to the rebellious people. And he's telling them, it doesn't, like, just say it. Like, they may not hear it, right? Am I saying this correctly? Like, I'm not always the best at, like, paraphrasing scripture here, but I just remember him just saying, like, go and tell them. They may not hear it, but they will know that I've put a prophet among them.
That's great. Use Ezekiel in there. You get like 12 bonus points.
We're doing. It's through BSF. I'm doing BSF right now, so I can't take credit for it.
And we just did it in the Bible in a year, and I'm doing the BSF homework because it's just Ezekiel. Why not? Yeah. I honestly, I feel like it has always been super easy to talk about things or share my faith and whatever. Mine is situational, and it just sounds so bad. But for me, it's the neighbors on either side of me that are just, it's awkward and they're weird. And I don't know how to even describe it. Like, and you have known both. Somebody needs to move their car. The old man over here. And then this other over here is super friendly, would always talk to everybody who'd come by, but usually had some kind of skunk-smelling plant he was enjoying.
Thank you. I think we can read between the lines. We got that one. Thanks.
But it was one of those things where it's like, how do you engage a conversation? Like Joe, especially, who's always like, "Hey, go talk to your neighbors." Yeah. But for me, like that's just the weird one as the single woman living. Like I don't want to be like, "Hey, neighbors, come on in." But so I don't know. That's where I feel more
hesitant.
Yeah. And I have had conversations about what I do and like whatever.
Okay,
but
well,
that's more
okay.
weird.
First of all, we'll probably get back to that your specific neighbor example, because there seem to be some extenuating circumstances there that are probably interesting. But obviously, you were a teacher for like 36 years, and
47.
Yeah, and in your time, there's some awkwardness also in being a teacher and with your faith, public, not public. How did you do that? Because obviously, you have had many conversations throughout the years in the context.
See, but that
of school.
wasn't awkward to me at all. Like,
How did you get there? Most of the time.
I mean, some of it was I taught world history, and you're teaching about the Israelites. You had to teach major religions, and fortunately, unfortunately, like some of it was as I am like really starting to really learn the reality of world history, and I was seeing all the connections to scripture. There were so many times I'd like go grab my Bible off my desk and be like, what the heck? This is so cool.
In front of the kids?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they got to see that lived
And
out.
so,
Okay.
and I mean, I just got to talk about it. Also, I mean, very early on, like when I first started doing teaching, like I was like, this is a mission field. So I would pray over my desk and my students. And then like during lunch, Tuesdays, the boys would come in and have lunch with me Thursday. And so they could just talk to me about anything. And so there were times where I'd just be like, oh, yeah, I don't know. That's not something I'm used to, or, you know, and they were allowed to talk about whatever. And even in parent teacher conferences, I think people just knew I was the Christian teacher. But I remember my very first parent teacher conference, this mom's like, I know you're helping my daughter with math, but could you help her find God? And I was like,
Wow.
I was like, I mean, if she asks questions, she can ask, but it doesn't.
So you pretty quickly got the reputation of she's a Christian teacher.
Yeah.
Like you were bold enough or blunt enough in your teaching that people just knew.
It's who I am. If you talk to me, I'm going to talk about something, and I might be like, God's cool. Like he da. But then even with coworkers, I do remember a couple awkward times where like our secretary came in and had something major going on. And this was when I started really having to step out of my comfort zone and praying for somebody right there rather than just saying, I'm going to pray for you.
Yeah.
And I just remember praying over my secretary, and you walk by a public
I was about to say,
classroom
somebody's
in public
walking
school,
past that
you
door
don't
and sees
usually
it.
see two of the employees like embracing each other in an extended amount of time, but somebody else must have walked by and seen me like hugging this secretary and praying over. And then later that afternoon during my plan, one of the teachers walked in and said, hey, I think you were praying for Marla. Would you pray for me? And I was like, yeah, what do you want prayer for?
Love it.
So, I mean, I just think
Yeah.
for some reason that was easy.
Yeah. Okay. Even though I've heard for other people it's not easy, right? Feel like they have to walk the line, and maybe have gotten in trouble even for saying something faith related in front
Maybe
of a
I was
classroom.
edgy and I was like, fire me for this. I don't know.
I don't care.
I could go teach
Don't
somewhere
take
else.
my Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It just never was awkward. And that's
Okay.
why it's embarrassing that it's weird to talk to my neighbors.
That's not, again, we'll get into that probably a little more later. But okay, Anna, talk to me about your career,
Yeah.
what you've done, and again, part of this is tougher for Amy and I at times because our coworkers are all believers, right? We work in
Yeah.
the church,
We
so
so hope so.
we sure do. Gosh, I hope that's a prereq. So tell us about your own experience in the workplace, neighbors. Like, who do you come in contact with the most that this is an opportunity?
Yeah, sure. So first, it doesn't come naturally. Like, I love John Mark Comer in one of his books. He said, I just want to mow someone's lawn and hope that they meet Jesus that way. And I related.
true. I love that.
I related to that so well.
good.
But I'm a registered nurse. I've had a few different positions with that in the last, 6-7 years. I don't know. I've lost track, but I have gotten the privilege of taking care of patients in some of their darkest and like most vulnerable times. And I really wish I could tell you guys that I took full advantage of that. I did not. Like it's seldom that I've like prayed for a patient, and I so badly wish that wasn't the case. Like I wish that I'd taken that opportunity more.
Yeah.
But I will say that the Lord's placed on my heart my coworkers.
That's awesome.
And with nursing, you get to know your coworkers so quickly, like on a deeper level, because you're dealing with traumatic things together and you're working together as a team. So it just doesn't take long to build that rapport with them and to start hanging out with them outside of work and
Nice.
whatnot.
Okay.
And so I have gotten the chance to share my story with quite a few of my coworkers. And
Nice.
sometimes that looks like tidbits of my story or things about God, like in a group setting conversation. But there's been times where it's been one-on-one. And those have been encouraging times. And I feel like I could really feel the Spirit like prompting me and leading me in those situations.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
When you think about what led to those conversations, is there a pattern at all of either like tough patience or tough shared trauma, whatever, shared experiences like that have led to those? Or has it more been just like a general conversation that you start about like church or, this is what's going on in my life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it more so is just talking to them and getting to know them. And I really do enjoy asking questions to get to know people. And like, I want them to feel listened to. And then just when they ask about my life, like, what did you do this weekend? Like, oh, like I was at church and I did this at church or whatnot. And so I do talk very openly about my faith at work and with my coworkers. And there's a coworker that has become a good friend. And, she, we were hanging out one day after she had just had a baby, and it was like the Lord was lobbing me a softball because she was like, I really want to learn more about God. Like, I want to know more about his word. I want to be, I want to be a part of a group that I could learn about his word with, because I get confused reading. And I said, me too. That doesn't ever go away. But the thing with that is I got her connected with Amy because I thought what she probably would benefit from, and it sounded like her husband was in the same boat, was a community group. And our group is just closed off right now. And so I didn't know if Amy knew of a group that was maybe forming or needed or was looking for another couple. And then as weeks went by, I felt convicted by that because I was like, I'm the one who knows this friend. Like Amy's amazing and Amy's so good at connecting people and she's fully equipped and like the Lord can use Amy. Absolutely. But like, I'm the one who knows this friend and I love her. And like, I want to be a part of this. And so then the Lord lobbed me another softball because I don't know anything about softball. Is that the right term? Like,
yes, right.
Yeah.
Okay. She's a hockey girl.
I'm a golf girl, So anyway, he gave me another chance because, this same friend, she came to me, she had a neighbor and friend who goes to our church and was going to do the women's study this summer.
Nice.
And I was like, I'll do it with you. Nice. Like, sign me up. And bonus, your lovely wife Lee was teaching, which I could listen to her all day, every day teach. Like, she's so amazing.
Nice. Thank you.
And a lot of cool things came from doing that. And I just want to reiterate, I was the one that was like honestly trying to avoid that situation. Like, I wasn't really doing much, but the Lord used that. And he was doing a work and still is doing a work in my friend, regardless of me being around or not. But I just loved getting to see that and be a part of it. And we had a really sweet time this summer doing that study together.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And any updates on how that...
Yeah. She and her husband, and their kids, they've been coming here.
Nice.
And, we got to have some cool conversations over the summer too. Okay. Like, I remember, well, first of all, she rolled up with a King James Bible.
Yeah.
Which, no hate for those who...
Yeah, you better be careful.
But I'm not smart enough to read that translation. I need ESV.
Oh my gosh.
And so I just left that night feeling like, I want to go get her an ESV study Bible. And I remember Amy got me my first Bible. So I remember...
What kind was it?
An ESV.
Oh, back then, too?
Yeah.
Was it a study Bible or was it a regular one? Was it like the big fat study Bible?
No, it was a little cute red one. Yeah. And I love it.
For like the young high school.
It was pretty much, it was like that. And I will never get rid of it. It's just super special.
That's awesome.
And so I just remember that. And I just felt like the Spirit was prompting me to go get a Bible for her. So I went that night and I picked her out one. I put it in her locker the next day, and
which sounds like school,
but it's actually a different locker.
Nurses have lockers, you guys. We don't have desks.
This is the
lockers.
Big theme in Anna's spiritual journey is lockers.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
We're really tying it all together.
So funny. So anyway, she saw it and she was so happy. And she's like, thank you. Like, I wanted a different Bible, but I didn't know where to start. Like, I didn't know what to get.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was cool that the Spirit, like, just led me through that. Like, when I was driving to go get it, I was like, I don't know, Lord, is this like, am I doing this right? Like, is she going to think is she could be like weirded out that I like got her a Bible? But no, like she was grateful. And, we had cool conversations throughout the summer. Like there's one Bible study that beforehand she was telling me like, I know that God is loving, but in the Old Testament, he can seem really harsh.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, he can.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked through that a bit. And then Lee got up to teach, and I swear she hit on that, like so to the T. Like, and afterwards I asked my friend, like, what did you think about that? Like, did that help you understand that better? Like, did that help you wrestle with it more? And she's like, yeah, that makes so much sense. Like, I feel so much better about that. So,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's just cool to see what God, what he does,
Yeah, I think based on some of the stories you're saying about how the conversations begin, and your phrase that you said, I wrote it down just to make sure, but if you talk to me long enough, you're going to hear me say like, God is doing this and God is doing this. And I think that's probably a big key for this that we don't really think about. If you're in what we like to call relational evangelism, basically like you're not going to a person with the idea that like you're going to sit down with them and share the gospel word for word in that moment and they're going to become a Christian, but it's more like you see this person as a child of God that you're going to be friends with. I think the bad tendency is to John Mark Comer it and just be like, I'm going to serve this person, but never say anything.
Yep.
And the truth is, I think it takes somebody who's actually living life with Jesus and thinking about their life through those terms, and then for them to be able to say just very simply as a matter of fact, this is what God is doing.
Yeah.
I was at church this weekend and this is what I learned. Or I was listening to some podcast recently, and they were talking about the importance or the ease of sharing the gospel by starting by saying, this is what I love about my church. And so just talking about the positive parts about Christianity and the church and how people want to ask questions about that. But I think like my wife, part of the reason I married Lee was because she just like couldn't stop talking about God. Every phone conversation we had, she would talk about what the Lord was teaching her. And that was so rare that I just didn't find people like that. And I find myself still being bad at that. Like I have friendships, I would say, again, working here at the church, most of the people I know are believers. So my neighborhood is generally what I see as like the clearest mission field I've been given. But like I've been friends with some of those people we've lived there for 6 years now. And like 95% of our conversation is just about weather, sports, kids, stuff like that. So many opportunities for me to say this is what God is doing, but I don't take it either because I am afraid it'll feel awkward since I know they don't believe in God, or I don't want to scare them away from think I'm a weirdo. But I do feel like if you're able to sprinkle that into your conversation, it's such a nice way of opening people up to the idea of what you believe and how you think as a Christian. But I just think I stink at that too. I mean, I think when you talked about you're afraid you're going to mess something up, I was like, I'm not afraid I'm going to mess something up. I am afraid in general that I'm going to mess up the friendship. Like I could give the gospel clearly, but I am super people pleasing person who's afraid that I'm going to introduce awkwardness into a relationship.
I do think though that if you have that relationship already built, like I don't think that does damage it. Like if you already have that rapport built with them and they trust you and you guys have a good time together. Yeah. Like I really think that like it's not going to hinder it, but I get the fear. Yeah. Like I get it.
Because in reality, if they've walked with you enough, Doug, they know what's the joy in you. They know you do love Christ. And I laugh because I look at you and Lee as like, that's how I want to be. And I make the excuse of, if I'm married, then I'll do this with my husband or whatever. But like, you have neighbors who are walking with the Lord that attend to fellowship. Yeah, right. Because of relationships and friendships and... Yeah. Or at least engaged into the life of the church. Yeah, sure. You have, the friendships and stuff have brought them to fellowship. Yeah. And so to me, I think it's like, I feel like growing up as a kid who was trained, like literally we went into a mall in Denver, Colorado, and we're trained to just go up to somebody and engage the gospel.
Yeah.
Cold turkey. Here we go.
Yeah.
And so I can do that. And there have been opportunities where literally I am engaged with a conversation with somebody, a perfect stranger, and I've shared the gospel.
Yeah.
Or something is happening and we're helping someone and I'm like, hey, let me pray for you. Da-da-da-da-da. Like I can do that. But where the fruit is the relationship. And that, and God, I trust that God will take that person. I may never see them again, whatever. But it's when it's the people that we're doing life with, like that's the weight for me, because I'm like, I don't want them to be like, she worked with me for 17 years. How do I not know that? Like, and so it doesn't mean like I still have this hope that because of who I was as a teacher or as a coworker, like when God finally gets a hold of someone's heart, they'll reach back out. And I will literally, I have had numerous students reach out on Facebook or Instagram and be like, hey, Miss Weatherford, you posted this. I want to start reading the Bible. Where should I start? Or, hey, you posted something. I think I would like to know more about this. And so I'm like, great, let's engage this. So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when you think about your spheres of influence, I would say that people listening to this, probably their two biggest spheres where they have interactions with people who they want to think about being a good steward of the gospel with: work and home, home including neighborhood. So again, let's go back to strategic vision. Should I quiz you? Do you feel like you could state that? Just messing with you. Be intentional in the home and available in the world. So helping
Anna's like, oh.
I'm like, please don't quiz me. Please. Why would you do that to me?
So helping people think through their relationships and how to begin doing this. Like first thing we talked about, be open with your faith with them, just like sprinkle stuff into the conversation. What else have you guys either done in the past or seen other people do, heard stories where people have been very intentional about engaging the people in front of them in a gospel way? If that makes sense. And if you guys need me to stall, I have some stories.
Well, I will use Anna for an example.
Perfect. Look at that. Great job.
Because one of the things God showed me early on, even as doing student ministry, or like, there are so many people in my life who know Jesus, but their people don't know Jesus.
The people around them, you're saying?
Their family, their whatever. And so like, whether it's in-laws, like I have brothers and sister-in-laws because there's a lot of us, or nieces and nephews, like they will bring their friends over to my house, or I'll spend time with father-in-laws, mother-in-laws, whatever. And like early on doing ministry and really like, especially with this group of girls, I was like, no, I want to do better of like being intentional and like available discipleship, this. So Anna's mom, I got to know, like, when I would go pick up girls or do whatever, like, I didn't want them to be like, who's this random girl that is hanging out with our daughters? But I didn't know if all these parents even knew Jesus. Yeah. And so I just remember even connecting with Nancy, Nancy.
She loves you. Because who doesn't love Amy? But my mom is always, she still asks about you all the time.
That's
so Mike and Nancy, just getting to know them. Nancy's from a family of 10. Number 5 in their family is named Amy. I'm number 5. But you start asking these questions because it's like, I don't just want Anna to know Jesus. We've hung out for a long time, 2012. Do you know that I still pray over her brother and sister and family? Like Carrie McFall, who's like a pseudo younger sister, I pray daily over her family because I think that's part of it too, is God allows me not only to like my own people, but when you have people in your life that you love and you're like, their families don't know Jesus, or you want them to go deeper in their faith or whatever. I'm like, this is partly the fun too, is getting to join them in that. So that has been a huge one for me for many, many years of just like, as God puts people in my life, me partnering with them for the people that they're wanting to know Jesus.
That's great. Praying for the people of your people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
And Amy, you're also like, your home is like always open. And that means so much to people. I think that's something that I would like to be better at.
Let me just interrupt you there real quick. Because this is a great, I was reading a evangelist. His name's Steve Childers. And he has a church movement, but he said the key to 21st century evangelism is hospitality and will be hospitality. And I just thought, oof, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, with neighbors, we just moved, but we had a couple neighbors on either side of us. They're in their 80s. And one of them, they are believers. They're very involved with their church, but we got to know them and, had a great time with them. On the other side of us, I think they believed in God, but it was like very much we go to Catholic Mass on, Christmas and Easter, and that's it. That's the extent of our faith. And so we really tried hard to get to know them. We had them over for a few meals.
Cool.
We moved away. They just reached out recently. They had a bunch of tomatoes, and so the neighbor, he texted me and asked if they could come by, see our new house, drop off the tomatoes, see Riley. I said, of course, come over. We had, breakfast and stuff together. And I was asking, how are the new neighbors? I was hoping to get some dirt on them.
Who are the new neighbors?
I don't know who. I don't know who the people who moved into our house. I don't know them.
That's crazy.
And they said, we don't know them. They drive into their garage and they shut the door.
Yeah.
They had met the guy, but the wife, they have not talked to her yet.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't know anything about him. And they said, we miss you guys. And that was really big encouragement to me that awesome. Okay, sure, we never had this critical conversation about the gospel together, but they know that we're involved in our church. They know where we stand. We just haven't had this, super important conversation about it, but it obviously meant something that we had them over. So that was just really good encouragement for me. Okay, I want to do this more. Now we have a whole new street of neighbors that we don't know, and so now that just encouraged me to be okay, let's have some people over for dinner.
That's so great.
Even if it can be weird.
And it will with some of them,
and
probably,
it will be
sure.
weird with some people.
Yeah.
But
let's
that door hasn't shut with that other neighbor.
Right.
Old neighbors,
Yeah.
which is so cool to see what God does.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do think reading Gospel with the House Key was convicting to us to be okay, when you think about stewardship, our home is the biggest thing that we're ever going to own, right?
Yeah.
And also the biggest thing, material, we need to be stewards with. And then I think about the weirdness. Joe talks about Topeka not being a place where people invite people over for dinner very much because they have and people who move to Topeka say this. Everybody in Topeka grew up there. They have their people. They don't reach out, right? So I do think hospitality breaks down walls people aren't really used to. And again, inviting somebody across the threshold of your home into your personal space with your pictures and your memories and all that stuff, I think you break down so many more walls so much quicker in that. And we're in a society where I just feel we don't have a lot of sitting next to somebody for long periods of time to be able to get into deeper conversations. And I feel dinner is a great time to do that.
Yeah.
But you've always been hospitable, right? This is on your list of things that define who you are and who your ministry is.
Yeah, but I think it was partly because I think that's how my parents were. We never knew who would be randomly at our house or who we were taking in. But I feel when we talk about being a good steward, and we're going to be talking about even how we use our gifts or what we have and all these things, for me, I'm I may not have much, but my home, as little and cozy as it is, has been a perfect avenue. And honest truth is even when my sisters were in college, different girls at different times came, either if they were really new in their faith. I mean, there's this gal named Kelsey Thompson, Kelsey Dodd, who, she was fairly new walking with the Lord when she came to live with me when she was in college. And that's fun. Just even opening a home where they're with other believers. And so I think it's why I love nieces and nephews now being in college and high school or middle school, and they can come even with their friends and engage this crazy aunt. But I get to have those conversations. I don't know that all my nieces and nephews are walking with the Lord, even though their parents are. And so that's us being intentional. But a home is such an easy way to instantly be like, oh, you really are letting me in your space and making me feel like valued, because we don't let just anybody in our home.
Yeah, that's a good point. It does communicate value to somebody. I think that's a really good way of saying that. So again, my thoughts are for the people who are listening who just feel like they don't know where to start or they're nervous. So I'm just going to encourage you. We have in our staff meetings, our small discipleship staff meetings and our whole ones, we have time where we share what we call strategic vision stories, which is basically how are people in our church living this out that you've heard of. So I just wrote down, 8 of our last 12 were like good examples of being a steward of the gospel with the people God has put in front of you. So I'm going to read a couple of them, and I'm not going to read names because I asked 0 of these people for permission to do this. But we have a guy who's very involved in our church and leads some ministry, but he has an office mate who's an atheist, like kind of a out and out atheist, who he started talking to about his faith. And now the office mate has agreed to start reading some books that he's suggested for him to read. So that's like step 1. Then we had a woman who was at her hair appointment. Love, right? It's just like God can use anytime. You always got to be ready. And heard about a daughter of a daughter who had gone through some really hard things of another client. And so she reached out to her and invited her to church to some grief share stuff. And she started to come to church, and she doesn't have faith. And just like, wow, this is a beautiful way to do that. Another guy who shared the gospel with a guy at work who was far from Jesus. And now he and his wife have accepted Jesus and are attending church. Another guy who gave a guy a job, began to mentor him, invited him to studies at the church, and now he and his wife are following Jesus. And we have a guy who works in military who feels like his job is kind of a darker place as far as what the conversations normally are like. But he has been bold in his last couple of years about talking about how he goes to church every week and what God is doing in his family. And so over the last couple of years, he's invited, I think, like, as far as I know, because this is my guy, I wrote his story down. It's like 4 or 5 couples and husbands to church, and a couple of them have come and I've gotten to meet them. And it's like, okay, this is what it looks like. And a lot of these are conversations at work about Jesus, about church. And I think that God is going to use all kinds of random things, but if we don't have our eyes open for it, I think, we can miss it at times. I do think back at my opportunities that I feel like I've missed and just really, I'm sad about it, right?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So that's the last thing I think Joe talks about, and we'll talk about this weekend. Again, we didn't have a run through, so hopefully this is what he talks about. But praying for the opportunities. And I think praying for the opportunities also just opens your eyes to see them when you otherwise wouldn't. So any other thoughts before we close?
No, just
yes,
sharing
you have
that.
to say yes. You say no, and then you fill it in. So any other thoughts? And you say yes. Yeah. Okay. What do you got?
I just, even as you're saying, I'm like, I could start tearing up because I know this is Joe's. Every week he says, look around this room. And even with all 3 of our services, if people actually went out and did that, these are simple things. Yeah. And here's the honest truth. We don't have to worry about saying the right thing or whatever, because ultimately it's the Holy Spirit doing the work. He just wants us to be a part of it. And so we're just being available in those moments. But I was like, throughout like even the Devo and different things, as Joe's just like, what potential could this our church body have if we really just were faithful with our story and sharing the gospel to someone? And I'm like, you listed like 5, whatever.
Yeah.
But think of the thousands of people that the impact of Topeka, and I'm like, this just gets me hyped even more. Like, and it's the simple things, inviting neighbors over for dinner or just even getting to know, like as somebody's out doing yard work and you are just engaging that conversation. I do think it's easier than, I think we allow fear to get big in our heads, and then we think it has to be some grandiose thing, but it really is just small steps. And once you start building those relationships, naturally people want to lean and ask more questions. Anna, I loved you said earlier, just like when you start asking more questions and getting to know someone, they in response tend to ask more questions, and just opens that door. And so we just have to learn to do those things.
Yeah.
And I also remember still vividly like what it was like to not be a believer. And like the way I would describe it is like this void in me that nothing could fill, no one else could fill. And like I feel like I'm rich in like my family and, you know, the people around us, but like there's still not enough. Like they don't feel that like Jesus does. And so like I think people are searching, like even if they seem like they have it all together, they're searching. And so yeah, I've just found a lot of peace in asking the Spirit for help when I'm at work and going through those conversations.
That's awesome.
But I'm also like, there's been plenty of times where I've missed opportunities and I'm sad about them too. Like I get that.
But
yeah.
it is the Spirit. Like
it is.
Acts
it's the Spirit.
1:8. We talked about it every week when we went through the book of Acts. We always reference that. But like Spirit empowered. Like we're being sent out by the Spirit. So we are definitely not alone in it, and He will provide us exactly what we need to say in those moments. So that's what's so cool. Just
it is.
It's okay to even in those moments. Okay, Holy Spirit, give me with the words. But prayer is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great segue. So will you pray for the congregation, pray for people listening, and again, as we talked about it, pray for our eyes to be open to the opportunities God has in front of us already. Right now. Thanks.
God, I just thank you that you are so patient and loving with us. And God, I pray that each of us here at this table and those listening and our church body, that you would continue to give us just spiritual eyes to see the people that you've placed in front of us. And God, whether they know you and just need encouragement and to be reminded of the gospel and your goodness and your hope and your faithfulness, or they haven't met you, they haven't encountered you yet, Lord, like Anna said, like each of us has this void and this emptiness that we're searching when it's not you. And even when we put our hope in other things, when we have you, we feel that need to come back to you. And so, God, I just pray for easy next steps of just a conversation, just a hello, to get the door open, just to know people, to welcome them into our homes, into our lives. God, just help us to have eyes to see people where they're at and to meet them where they're at and to love them well. And God, ultimately, we know that this is going to be the work of your Spirit in the lives of people, and it's going to be the work of your Spirit in our lives, Lord. And so help us to be more available and intentional. Help us to see everything through the light of eternity, that this is a bigger thing than just getting to know my neighbor. This is being able to offer the greatest thing that you have given us, which is your grace and your salvation. And we want that for people, Lord. And so, God, I pray, even after listening to this, whether in the grocery store line or talking to a coworker, whether it's talking to someone's in-laws or a teenager that came over to your house with your child, how can we just be intentional with the gospel and just loving them and meeting them? So, God, we entrust our church body to you. We entrust the people in our lives to you. And then, God, help us be ready instruments and vessels in your hands. We love you, Lord, and we are excited about what you already are doing, and we want to be a part of it and continue the work. So we love you. Thank you. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Ike.
You're welcome. You remembered.
Really appreciate you being on here, though. Thank you
for having me. It was fun just hanging out with you guys.
Good. Thanks. Thank you, Fellowship family, for listening to this week's episode of the Deeper Podcast. We'll catch you all next week.